Is it possible that A&W has come up with the greatest fried pie in history? Welcome back to That's Rank, your home for food news and reviews. My name's Chris, and I'm feeling hyperbolic today because A&W has done it. They've literally come up with the best idea on paper that I've ever heard. And then stick around because I'm going to be covering Canada's favorite pies by province later on in the episode, and you might be surprised by some of the options because there's some that I've never even heard of. Now, longtime viewers of the channel know how much I love Coffee Crisp. Coffee Crisp is, of course, a Canadian candy bar with thin layers of wafer cookies that are held together with a light coffee cream and a thin chocolate coating on top. It's airy, it's crunchy, it's candy bar perfection. Literally, anyone who's ever eaten one agrees with me. Jacqueline C. sums it up beautifully, and she's a level 3 sweet tooth expert, writing, "Absolutely love the Coffee Crisp chocolate bars. My kids fight over them on Halloween. They're crispy on the inside and milk chocolate on the outside. Great flavor. We ship them to American family members sometimes. That's how good they are." Coffee Crisp, of course, recently released a coffee creamer, which currently sits atop my coffee creamer tier rankings, and it's going to be mighty hard to knock that down from the #1 spot. But while we scour the earth looking for an even more perfect coffee creamer that may not even exist, they've now gone ahead and paired up with A&W to release a Coffee Crisp fried pie. Now, I know this is fresh because the drive-thru had me wait for 6 minutes while they fried it up. Not to worry though, I didn't jam up the arteries of the lane like this pie is gonna jam up my own personal arteries. I did pull ahead into a drive-thru parking spot and then waited impatiently for this moment in time. You know what, let's just go ahead and check this out. I mean, so far so good. It looks like a pie. Let's go ahead and cut it open though, which we're gonna do over a plate because I'm not making a chocolate rivery mess in here all over my office. Believe it or not, when I'm not stuffing my face, I do actually work in here. Oh God. I don't want to get too excited because if this is anything short of perfection, I'm probably going to wind up being let down. Okay, control yourself, control yourself. Deep breathing exercises. It's time. Let's go ahead and do this. You know how sometimes you build things up in your mind to the point it's got no chance of meeting your expectations? Now, I know you're waiting for me to go, nah, not this time, but that is exactly what happened. At the end of the day, it's just a chocolate pie. I find it a bit lacking in the actual coffee flavor, which, you know, come on A&W. It's the best part of a Coffee Crisp. It's the first word in the title of the product. It would be like producing a shepherd's pie without grinding up a shepherd first. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this is good. It's actually a really good dessert. The chocolate's on point, it's creamy, it's hot, it's delicious, and the crust does pair quite beautifully with it. But a Coffee Crisp, it ain't. And when I order a Coffee Crisp pie, I want a Coffee Crisp pie. That does seem like a fair trade-off. Anyway, I'm gonna let this go and just enjoy it for what it is. I'm probably gonna share some of it with my son who's downstairs, gonna go crazy over this thing. And now, let's find out what Canadians actually enjoy from coast to coast. I'm going to highlight some of the more bizarre choices. All 13 provinces and territories would go on a little bit long. I'll start all the way over in the East Coast though, in Newfoundland, where they like flipper pie. And yeah, unfortunately, those cringing right now, it's probably exactly what you're afraid of. And no, not dolphins, but seal flippers. See, part of Newfoundland is Labrador, which is way up north, and seal meat is actually part of a normal thing that gets eaten in that part of the world. So they cook it down with vegetables in a gravy, basically like a chicken pot pie. And you know what, call me a savage, but if I was visiting, I would try it. I think anytime you're visiting someone else's culture, it's more respectful to try the stuff that we find weird than not. Unless it's got mayonnaise, in which case, absolutely not. But in all seriousness, I can understand if you can't, but that's just a personal philosophy that I hold. Meanwhile, in Nova Scotia, the top dish is the rappie pie. It's almost like a scalloped potato, but it's got chicken included and no cheese. Lots of margarine and chicken broth over top of grated potatoes. I've personally never had it, but it sounds great to me. Now in Quebec, the pie of choice is tourtière. And tourtière is something that I'm familiar with, which is basically a meat pie made with either ground beef or lamb or even chevreuil, which means horse, mixed with some potato. Quebec is one of the places in the world that does still eat horse, especially towards the northern part of the province. I've never had the horse meat version of it myself, but I have had the other ones. I'd say it's okay, but not my favorite. Maybe I'd like it more if it had horse. I've never eaten horse. Saskatchewan is home to the Saskatoon berry pie. They're an offshoot of the blueberry and exceptionally delicious. It's a perfect dessert pie material. And then up in Nunavut, which is a territory to the north of Saskatchewan, they also use the Saskatoon berry, but they call their favorite pie the service berry pie. It's the same thing though. And the last one that I'll highlight is the Northwest Territories, which sits between the Yukon and Alaska. And they have something called the cloudberry pie, which I've never heard of in my life. The cloudberry is basically bright orange berries that allegedly taste similar to raspberries, and the pie is recommended to be eaten with whipped cream. Look, all I know is with a description like that, I think we need some cloudberries over here in Ontario, stat. So I'll turn it to you. What is your favorite pie? Mine varies day by day. I'm a little bit unpredictable. Pumpkin pie generally leads the charge, but when I visit a farmer's market, I'll mull over the choices for upwards of 3 or 4 hours before settling on something. You know, that's an important choice. One can't rush a good pie decision. And with that, thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I'll catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.